Florida, really feels the effects of the open border in the southern border.
Okaloosa County Sheriff Eric Aden speaking out tonight following the second arrest in as many months of illegal aliens accused of committing sex crimes on teenage girls. These are two separate cases. In both instances, the suspects deported only to come back. DNA also helping lead to both arrests. Tonight, both remain in the Okaloosa County Jail with immigration holds. 20-year-old Mauricio Escobar Munez facing serious charges of sexual battery of a child and burglary. According to Okaloosa County Sheriff's investigators, Escobar Munez broke into her home in the middle of the night.
A female, 14-year-old female in our area, Fort Walton Beach, awakens to a Hispanic male unknown to her, hand over her face, speaking in Spanish. He sexually batters her.
Sheriff Eric Aden says the crime happened on April 21st. A DNA profile taken from the victim hit a match on July 11th, leading them to Escobar Munez, who lived less than a mile from the victim. Even more frustrating for the sheriff, the Honduran native had also been deported by Homeland Security in September 2022.
And was labeled as denied entry classification. You can see how well that worked, right? To be honest with you, the cell phone that we seized, that we're using as evidence, is probably one that was given to him by our government at the border. And then secondly, if there was such thing as an accessory before the fact, maybe Mayorkas needs to be looked at, because this is ridiculous.
Sheriff Aden not the only one upset with the Secretary of Homeland Security. You'll remember House Republicans tried to impeach him earlier this year. Meanwhile, the latest arrest marks the second in as many months. 24-year-old Jose Chan from Guatemala arrested June 26 for the same charge on a 14-year-old girl in Okaloosa County. This crime happening on February 25th. Sheriff Aden says just 16 days earlier, he too had been deported, only to illegally cross the border and return to Okaloosa County.
It's just frustrating. It's frustrating to see this play out right here in Northwest Florida.
While the problem at the U.S. southern border didn't happen overnight and has become a major issue in the presidential election, Sheriff Aden points out these are just two cases of many he believes could have been avoided.
There's a pathway to citizenship, and I understand it's an arduous process, but many people do it. They do it the right way. They become great skilled laborers here, business owners here, and they're great American citizens. And we certainly applaud that. But we've got to stop the border of illegal aliens. We're going to hold them accountable, but if they weren't here to begin with, these crimes wouldn't have been committed by them.
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The clip that I showed you just now, I played in the video that I put out last night. And I thought it'd be fitting for me to put it back on for a couple of reasons to begin this video. One is because of the state of affairs that's going on right now in the United States with Biden stepping down and Kamala Harris supposedly going to be the new president. Just to show people that, you know what, she had one job to do, and that was to keep the border closed and to make sure that the people that were coming in were being vetted the right way and we let in the right people. But obviously she wasn't there, and now the mainstream media is trying to start a narrative, okay, that she was never in charge of the border. So brace yourselves, because that's going to be the new narrative in the next few months, trying to skirt away from her responsibilities and all the blood that's on her hands, on the Biden regime's hands, on Mayorkas' hands, and all that. But like I always say, with technology, and the one thing that the Democrats always do, they contradict themselves, because there is massive videos out there of Biden praising Kamala Harris about giving her the job to take care of the border, and even as far as calling her the border czar. So this is something that you're going to be hearing back and forth, that she was never in charge of the border, which I think it's totally disgusting for them to start putting that narrative out. It's almost as if saying, you know what? Well, since she wasn't in charge, you cannot blame all the crime that all the criminals that are coming through the border on her, which I find, like I said, I find disgusting. Because it's not so much that they're trying to pass the buck. It's why are you trying to pass the buck on this, and who are you going to pass the buck on to? Okay, no matter who you pass it to, it's under your watch. Okay, it's under your administration. Okay, it's under your party's watch that illegal criminals are coming through the border claiming asylum, and they're committing crimes. Okay, and a lot of them, if not all of them that are committing these crimes, are usually running from the law, from the country that they're fleeing, that they're claiming that they need asylum from. Okay, now before I go any further with the video, I just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and pass the channel around. Also, if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store, and I'm leaving the links again for the GoFundMe and the Give Send Go campaigns for my friend Josie, who needs help, who needs medical help, and for Loza Alexander. So if you want to go, find it in your heart to donate to them or help them or leave prayers on their platforms. I know a lot of times people will take someone's name and put them like in a prayer book, okay, whenever they go to church and stuff like that. There's no such thing as enough prayers. You just gotta, no such thing as enough prayers or too many prayers, or whichever way you want to phrase it. Okay, so if you can do that, and if you can help them financially, these things, when people go through these things, you'd be surprised the toll it'll take on someone and their family financially. And the way our government is running, in all honesty, I have to say it this way, because it's what I see and it's my opinion. I wonder if the government would help more, if and they would, depending on the government. But when it's the lefties in charge, they would rather spend more money on wars and helping people transition than they would their own citizens and helping them get healthy. Okay, and I'm talking healthy in any aspect. It could be you could be sick, you could be on drugs, you could be an alcoholic, you could be down and out. When the lefties are in charge, they don't give a shit about the people. They want your vote, but they just don't care. Okay, so with all that being said, the next few clips I'm going to show you, and if you read what's on my thumbnail, I'm going to show you some video clips about what's going on in the Western world that the mainstream media is not talking about, but there are other media platforms, okay, that are talking about it. There's a lot of social media talking about it. A lot of people are very fed up, not only here in America, but in places like Canada, Ireland, the UK, Paris, London. There are so many places in the Western world where so many illegal migrants are claiming asylum, and many of them do need the asylum, okay? But here's the thing. By them leaving the borders just massively open, letting all these people in, there is a rise in migrant gangs, migrant crime, and the one that's really got people like really pissed off is all the rapes that are being committed on children and young women and women. Okay, and I can't understand how all these regimes that are in power, okay, in the Western world, the way they can sit there and look at the populace, look at the people and say, you know what, we have to let these people in. And then when the citizens come out and say, okay, but this is what we want, the powers that be say, no, this is what you're going to get. And then when all the crime comes in, because a lot of criminals are coming in all these caravans, it's like you can't say anything. Don't say nothing, because then it's going to deem you a racist. Okay, that's just one of the things. Another thing, okay, in the UK they have these laws that you can't use certain words, if not you'll get arrested. Okay, and the same thing happened, I believe I did a video about it, I believe it was Michigan or Minnesota, where they passed a law where you cannot misgender somebody because it becomes some sort of felony or whatever the hell the case is. Me, I told whoever put that law out, I told them straight to their face, go kick fucking rocks. Because you're disgusting to even think about that. You should not even be in political power. But I'm going to digress on that, on this part. On one of the videos I'm going to show you, there was a girl that was raped, okay, overseas. And she wind up texting the person that raped her and called him a pig for what he did. She wind up getting arrested. Okay. They literally went after her, saying that she was harassing the rapist. You know, there's a big epidemic, especially in the UK, that a lot of people will talk about. There are some news channels, like I said, that talk about it. There are some people online that, you know, they're putting out the content. One of the biggest things, one of the many biggest things that are going on, there are like these, and before, all right, let me say it like this. Before I go any further, I just want to say one thing to everybody out there. The videos that I'm going to show you is going to show the migrants, okay? Whether they're Mexican, whether they're Muslim, it doesn't matter. Whether they're from Africa, it doesn't matter. I'm not showing these videos for anybody to go and get upset and try to go after these people, because the truth of the matter is, anybody and everybody that watches this, that watches my content, especially my subs, you're all from different backgrounds. I have people telling me that I shouldn't put this stuff out like this because what it's going to do is going to vilify a certain race. No, it's not. Because every race on this planet knows that there are good and bad in their race, in their culture. The reason why I put this out is because what I've noticed is that the people that are screaming the loudest, okay, for their rights, they don't say a word to band together and protest against these things that are going on. Like in the UK, it's no secret that there's been big groups of Pakistani men, which they call rape gangs, going out there and raping young girls and women. Does it mean that all people from Pakistan are rapists? No. But do you see the Pakistanis in mass protesting against that? No. Okay. It's just like here in America. You'll have people coming through the southern border, whether they're from Honduras, Colombia, Mexico, Nicaragua, El Salvador. They're coming through. Now, people that are coming through in those caravans that are from those countries are committing crimes, but yet you'll have illegals protest about the way they're being treated, but you won't have them get together and protest against the criminals from their country. Mexico, Nicaragua, you see what I'm saying? So before anybody comes out and says that, you know what, this is what they consider in America and all around, you know, the Western world, hate speech. No, you know what's hate speech, in my opinion, or speech that's violent or hurtful, is when you ignore victims, especially children and women. When you ignore them and you ignore the crimes committed against them, you're the ones with the problem. Okay? You have all these people banding together to protest atrocities that are going on in the Middle East. I get it. Okay, if anybody knows me, I'm against war. Okay? I truly am. But does it mean that I'm going to cower down if it ever, comes on my doorstep? No. I'm definitely not. I'm going to stand my ground. But if you can go out there and protest those atrocities that are happening 3,000-4,000 miles away, why are you not protesting against the people, your people, not all of them, but the ones in your category that are committing crimes? And that's something that nobody, and I shouldn't say that nobody brings up, a lot of people bring it up, but the people on the left won't bring it up. Okay? What they rather do is ignore it and then go after people like me and other people that are fed up with it, and even people that are on that side that come out and say, you know what, I didn't sign up for this, they wind up getting vilified. Okay? And this is not just happening here, like I said, in America. It's happening overseas. It's happening in the Western world. It's happening in Europe. I mean, there is major chaos going on in Ireland right now from all the illegals that are coming in. The way that the way things are going on, the way they're trying to change demographics, and they expect the Irish people to just sit back and cower down and say, well, you got to take it. No, bullshit. Okay? It's bullshit. People are getting fed up of the way the left worldwide has opened up Pandora's box to let criminals from all around the world go into different places and just cause chaos. Okay? And I mean, this is like every single day. If it's not here, it doesn't matter whether it's here in America or in Europe. It's happening in both places every single day. And it's like I keep saying, it's bad enough we have our own homegrown criminals to worry about. Now we got to worry about more. They're not even from America, and the ones that are doing it in Europe, they're not even from Europe. Okay, but with all that being said, let's hear this next story that came out. There's going to be a couple of clips, so bear with me, folks, but here we go.
A recent hate crime conviction in Germany really shocked me and showed how Western society holds hate crimes to be much worse than actual crimes, even the gang rape of a child. So this stemmed from a horrific rape case. A drunk 15-year-old girl was raped by a group of men in a park in Hamburg. The rapist stole her wallet and phone, so she was unable to call the police or her friends. There are reports that the attack was filmed and shared on WhatsApp, calling nearby friends of the rapists to come and join in. And they did. When the police examined her, they recovered DNA from 9 different men. The rapists were a smorgasbord of identities, with an Egyptian, a Libyan, a Kuwaiti, a Pole, an Iranian, an Armenian, an Afghan, a Syrian, and a Montenegrin. Only one of them was given any jail time, however. Germans were understandably outraged about this. A 20-year-old from Hamburg got hold of one of the rapist's phone numbers and messaged him, calling him a disgraceful rapist pig and a disgusting freak. So that's a 20-year-old woman messaging a rapist, calling him a pig. The rapist went to the police, and the woman who sent this message was charged by the police for insulting the rapist. She was sentenced to a weekend in jail. Incredibly, this was a more severe sentence than the rapist himself was handed. I mean, it's not often we can say that the world's gone mad, but
that is absolutely
Okay, so you heard that. It's a 3-minute clip, but you got the gist of what this story's about. Okay, this happened in Germany. Okay, this came out 3 weeks ago. Now, some of these video clips that I'm going to show you, they're a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, something like that. But it doesn't take away the fact of what's going on. People keep putting these stories out to keep reminding people of what's going on. And 99% of the time, nothing's changed. Okay? Nobody's really going to prison. People are being accused of being racist. And it all falls under almost the same category. It's men from different countries, okay, coming into the Western world and just basically doing whatever the hell they want. Okay. Now, the next story that I'm going to show you, this was a day ago that it came out, and it happened in Paris. This one really blew my mind because I'm like, I mean, if I was in this situation, you'll see in the video, I don't know if I would have ended up. I probably would have ended up in prison. I'm almost certain I would have ended up in prison. But let me show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. This was put out a day ago by GBN News, or I think GB News or GBN News. Brace yourself for this one. This is insane. This is really insane. And this goes to show you, okay, that outside of the Western world, inside the Western world, you have predators that don't care. Okay? They'll commit a crime and then try to hide and flee. They don't get caught. They'll go and try to do it again. They basically keep doing it until they get caught. What I've been noticing, and this is not now, this is not recent. Even before I started the channel, I always had a close ear to the ground and I would notice it, but I didn't have a platform. I've noticed that a lot of these people that are not from the Western world, a lot of these men that are committing these crimes, they do it as if, you know what, we don't care, we're men, those are women, and if anybody knows, in a lot of those countries, they treat women like just dirt. Plain and simple. Okay? Now the caption to this one is, as terrified victim begs for help after gang rape by mob of African men. Check this out.
Watch the shocking moment a gang rape victim flees her attackers and begs for help in a kebab shop. Shockingly, one of the alleged attackers followed the woman into the eatery and a fight broke out when English speakers stepped in to defend her. The kebab shop owners found the victim with her dress turned out and torn and underwear in her hand, totally disoriented and not speaking a word of French, according to Paris Match. The young Australian woman had been on a night out around the cabaret district of Paris and was approached by 5 young men of African appearance, according to 7 News. The victim alleges the men then set upon her and brutally raped her at around 5 a.m. before she was able to flee to the nearby kebab shop. CCTV footage shows the shaken woman cowering in the corner of the kebab shop before a shocking turn of events. One of the alleged attackers enters the shop and pats the victim on the back before placing a food order. An enraged diner then swung at the man before staff broke up the altercation and the alleged rapist fled the scene. Fellow diners and the kebab shop staff sat with the disoriented woman while they waited for police. The horrific attack is the latest shocking scene in Paris just days before the city is due to host the Olympics. Last month, a young British woman was raped during a music festival in central Paris. She was found clutching her underwear and sobbing on the streets of the French capital. The woman said she had been accosted by a group of men who then raped her and stole her phone. The city has been the scene of extreme rioting in recent weeks due to political instability in the country. And just last week, a car ploughed into diners on a cafe terrace, killing 1 and injuring several. The Foreign Office warned last month that tourists should be careful as authorities were expecting a rise in sexual assaults, violence, fraud and theft across Paris in the lead up to the Olympics. The French government has announced it will deploy 35,000 police officers and 18,000 soldiers on the streets to ensure public order and safety during the Games. In addition, police officers from 43 countries will help man the Olympics, including 1,700 British officers. The Australian Embassy in Paris said it is making urgent inquiries with French authorities. Nicholas Dunning, GB News.
Okay, now that was a day ago, and you pretty much heard what had happened and how Paris is going to amp up security, but the way they're putting out putting the word out, okay, that sexual assaults are a problem. Okay, Now, like I said, even before I started my channel, I mean, there was many incidents going on in Germany, in Switzerland, I mean, all over the UK. And people just kept sweeping it under the table. I mean, as a matter of fact, I forgot the woman that was in charge of Germany. There were people protesting against her because she was making it a point that for the media not to put these stories out while still letting in illegals. Okay? And if you say something, you're considered a racist. You're going to put the rest of their population in jeopardy. But their population is not standing up saying to the ones in their population saying, you need to stop, you're making us look bad. They're not protesting for that. They'll protest for every other damn thing, but they won't protest against the criminals. Just like in America, you have all these groups protesting against people on the right, but they won't stand together against the ones in their own communities that are committing the crimes. But yet Americans are told, if you see something, say something. Unless there's an illegal immigrant, keep your mouth shut. That's just a one-off. No, nothing to see here. Now, this news reporter, she put this out 2 weeks ago. I'm not going to play the whole thing, just a few minutes, so you can hear what she has to say. This is a 16-minute, I'm not playing the whole 16 minutes though, but pay attention, here we go.
Something which most journalists and presenters wouldn't dare do. That is going down the route of a particularly taboo story that is close to my heart, shall we say. And I'll tell you why. It's all about crimes and migrants committing crimes. And I'll tell you why this is particularly close to my heart. Because to coin a favourite phrase of the left wing, it has been my lived experience over the past 3 years or so that a lot of crimes happening against women especially seem to be committed by people who aren't from this country. I've been followed home with a man in one of those Afghan kolpal hats chuntering away in some language. All the way to my front door, I had to hide in my neighbour's house and pretend I didn't live in my house because he was lurking around outside trying to do indecent things to himself. That's right. I've also had my phone robbed off me by a Roma woman with a scarf on. And I'm like, yeah, what are we doing here? Who are these people? Why are we importing all this stuff? I cannot walk down the streets where I live anymore without weird men leering at me, making comments. Look, I'm not one of these Me Too movement women. When it was builders wolf whistling from vans, I don't care. Sometimes it brightens up your day. Because what they don't do is they don't get into your personal space. They don't trail you. They don't physically approach you. They don't follow you to your front door. It's a very different, sort of more harmless thing, a wolf whistle, than some of the stuff I'm being subjected to now. And some of the stuff my best mate who lives around the corner, again, her lived experience. Also, guess what? A woman with long blonde hair. She has 4 teenage daughters. All of them now have at some point been sexually assaulted. They have been groped, they have been followed. They are scared living in London. What is going on? So I am going to...
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it right there because, like I said, for sake of time, I'm gonna try to put a couple of clips together. I want you guys to, to see these things and hear these things. This is a woman, okay? She's a news reporter. She's tired of it. Her caption is, Alex Phillip rants, call me racist, I don't care, on immigration and crime. And it's the truth. It's the damn truth. Because me, okay, if I'm walking down the street, if I'm sitting in my truck, whatever I'm doing, if I see a woman, I don't care what she looks like or whatever the case is, if I see her getting attacked or harassed, I'm not going to ask what her political status is, what her nationality is, whether she's a citizen or not. I just see a woman that's in danger. Okay? And that goes for, I want to say, 90-95% of men worldwide. Maybe a lot won't jump in, but they won't like it. But then you have that percentage that some people say, well, it's a small percentage, but they how can I say, they do the most damage. Because they look at women And to them, women are nothing. So they go and they commit crimes against them. Okay? And again, if you say something about it, you're deemed a racist. Now, would the same thing be if a black girl gets raped by a black guy? If she comes out and calls out her rapist, is she a racist? No. She's a victim. So the same thing should be for any woman of any race who gets sexually assaulted. When she wants to call out how she feels, that she should not be labeled a damn racist. Okay? But that's not the way the left has put this beast together. Okay? The left started the problem, and now they want to change it and make it seem like, well, you're going to have to live with the problem. They're not coming on, this is one of the situations where they start the problem, and instead of them coming like they like to do, start a problem, then come and try to save it and pretend like that, they're the victors, they're the ones that care. No, this is, if not the number one situation that they've started, and they will not come on their horse to save the day. They'll go and re-victimize the victim all over again. It's horrible. But enough with this one. Let's get to the next clip. Here we go. This one here, it says asylum seeker rapes 15-year-old girl after deportation flight blocked by cabin crew.
An asylum seeker who dodged deportation has pled guilty to the rape of a 15-year-old girl. Anisette Mayella's previous attempt at deportation was blocked by cabin crew who refused to take off with the migrant on board. He arrived in the UK in 2004, having paid an agent to smuggle him from Africa, where he claimed he was in danger. The Congolese migrant used to protest outside detention centres and became well known among anti-deportation activists. He would often be pictured wearing a plaque reading, "Migrants are not criminals." However, Mayella himself could now face life in prison after admitting to the rape offence. Oxford Crown Court was warned of the attacker's dangerousness before his plea. The first attempt to deport Mayella failed after he was injured while being held at an isolation centre near Heathrow. The migrant was then held at a detention centre in Kidlington before a second deportation flight was scheduled for May 2005. However, Air France cabin crew blocked the deportation plans by stopping the flight from taking off. There were claims Mayella's hand had been broken after he had been handcuffed and had his legs bound by minders. Mayella's lawyers then argued removing him from the UK would go against his human rights, and he was awarded leave to remain.
Yeah, you hear that? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that before he raped the girl that he should have, they're making it seem like he was mistreated and he suffered injuries. But this is what I cannot wrap my head around. Regardless of what happened, where he got injured, okay, he wind up protesting all these groups that are, for illegal immigrants and all that. He protested with them hand in hand, okay? And then he went, got hurt, under custody, but then you went and you raped a 15-year-old girl. So it's hard to look at this and say, you know what? Why did he do it? There's no why did he do it. It's just that, like any good criminal, in my opinion, they hide in the shadows. They hide amongst the people. And how they get more emboldened is when you have all these advocate groups, okay, all the NGOs and all that, all the churches, I've said it before, okay, all the religious institutions, all the politicians, everybody that's there on their side saying, where's the humanity? So they're saying that he shouldn't have been deported because of his human rights, so you kept him. So where was the humanity when he raped that girl, that little 15-year-old girl? Let's continue.
Police investigated the handlers for alleged assault. Mayella campaigned to close down the Campsfield detention centre after his release, saying migrants were not criminals. As for the cabin crew who blocked his deportation, a close source to Home Secretary James Cleverly told The Sun that people with no knowledge of the circumstances of those for whom they suddenly decide to intervene can have appalling consequences for others, as in this case. My constituents are sure to be furious to discover that he has remained here on what appears to be a flimsy excuse before committing this horrific crime.
And where have we heard that before? Oh yeah, that's right. And here in America. How many illegals have crossed the border that they're catching now, that now it's all over the news, of all these migrants from South America that have criminal records, that have raped and murdered young girls, children, and women. Because the left, they just don't want anybody to know about them. Just let them on in. And if you say something, you're racist. We gotta keep them here because of their human rights. They gotta stay. They have the right. They're not illegal. Nobody's illegal. And I said it before and I'll say it again. Trump was president of the United States. He got all the intel. He said it himself. They're emptying out their prisons and their insane asylums. Okay? Why do you think El Salvador is doing great now? Well, I'll take that back. What is it? Venezuela or Honduras, one of them? They're doing great because they've emptied out their prisons. And where are their criminals? Here in America. Whereas in El Salvador, what that man did was, instead of putting all the crime on other people in other countries, he decided to open up a supermax prison and stick every damn criminal in that prison, every gang member, everyone that committed a crime in that prison, and they're done. That's it. They're there, and they are guarded 24 hours a day. And crime has gone down. He didn't go and just let all the criminals out and say, here, go to America, don't worry about it. Go rape and pillage over there. But it's just so, it's so ironic that all these groups in the UK, in America, could keep fighting for illegal immigrant rights, but then when they commit a crime, how can we have known? What do you mean, how can you have known? Oh, you could have known had you just done your damn homework. Had you just stopped wanting to flood our country with illegals and start vetting people and find out who's who. And if you know that they broke the law, because it always starts from the beginning, you cross the border illegally, you've broken the law. But when you let them break the law first, and then keep breaking laws and you keep letting them out, no cash bail, okay, and you keep trying to look at people and say, oh, where's your humanity? You got to look out for him or her or them or this. Yeah, but then when they're going to commit a crime, where's the humanity for the victim? It's nowhere to be found. Where's the outrage? Where are the protests? Where are the massive people in the streets protesting against the ones in their own community that are committing these crimes? And I know what people are going to say. Well, what about Americans? Americans do freaking protest. Americans do gather in neighborhood groups and stuff like that, and they do push out the bad element. They do point out the criminals. Okay? It's beyond me, the way these things are going on. And these are not one-offs. These are things that are going on as we speak. Even here in America, as we speak. It may sicken you to your stomach to listen to it, but it's the truth. As we speak right now, some poor child, some poor girl in America, around the world, is being abducted, is being raped, I mean, all the horrors that you could think of. Okay? And nobody wants to talk about it. Even though a lot of people are talking about it, trying to get it out, what I'm saying is the ones that are in charge don't want nothing to do with it, as if it's going to go away, instead of really doing something like, I don't know, number one, here in America and around the world, close the damn borders. Start vetting people. Stop letting so many people in. Take all that money you're spending on illegal immigration and put it towards more security in the neighborhoods, in the communities. Not just here, but all around the world. Excuse me, in different countries that are dealing with this. Take care of your people first. But no, you're just too damn busy trying to take care of what the powers that be want, and that is to change the demographics of the Western world. Okay, I got one more video and then we'll wrap it up. Here we go. Okay, this came out 5 months ago. I want everybody to pay attention to what this woman has to say.
Firstly, on Taoiseach's statement yesterday that it is not right to connect immigration with crime is ridiculous. Not all.
Oh, before I continue, I believe this is in Ireland. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, it's in it's this one. Remember correctly? Yeah, this one was in Ireland.
Immigrants are created equal, and an immigration policy that does not recognise this will end in disaster and tragedy. We don't record crime statistics by ethnicity, because to do so would offend liberal sensibilities, and Ireland has the largest groups of Algerian asylum seekers in the world being admitted into the country.
Well, there we go.
Now I'm going to cut real quick. I was watching a video yesterday. There's a big thing. There's a lot of rioting going on in Ireland in one place called Coolock or something like that. I got the probably got the name wrong, but cool something. And unless I heard wrong, but from what I took from the video, there's only about 5 million people in Ireland. Okay, and supposedly they've already let in, I believe, almost 500,000. Okay. Somewhere between 250,000 and 500,000 illegal migrants, okay, that are coming from, like she was saying, you know, all these Middle Eastern countries or African countries. And there's so many people protesting that Irish people are racist. This is my thing. I grew up around Irish people, okay? Just like anybody else, you're going to have your good and your bad. Irish people are some of the most loving, accepting people. As a matter of fact, if people really do their history, American history, one of the first people that the Native Americans, the Cherokees, took into their culture were Irish. Okay? Nobody wants to talk about stuff like that. But you see, I can't. Okay? And for them to come out and say that the Irish people are acting selfish or they're acting racist, my thing is this. I do understand that people want to go to certain countries because the economy's better. I get that. Okay, just like a lot of people want to come to America, you have a lot of different things going on. But when you have an influx of so many people going into a small place like Ireland, okay, that they've basically taken over a certain percentage when it comes to population. Okay? I mean, you're talking what? 10%? Whatever 500,000 is from 5 million, that's 10%. So people have come in and basically have instilled 10% of a different demographic. That is a lot when it comes to a country. Okay? And it's bad enough that Ireland has dealt with so many different empires trying to take over them. Now, even though that was in the past, things have changed a lot more. There's been, you know, a lot more love since then. I'm just trying to find the right words. But now you have a whole group of people coming in trying to disrupt the peace and harmony that Ireland has, even though they have their own crime, their own problems. Now you're going to come and you're going to just basically try to take over? This is what I'm saying, people. The powers that be are trying to change the demographics of the Western world. Okay? That's what they're trying to do. But let's continue.
Speaking truth, and to discuss this, I'm joined by the leader of the Irish Freedom Party, Herman Kelly. Herman, welcome to the show. So the senator there speaking truth to power, saying to deny that there's a link between immigration and crime is to be in denial of reality. And yet, Leo Varadkar would have us believe precisely that, wouldn't he?
Well, Leo Varadkar, it's a bit like asking not to have a connection between Ronaldo kicking a football and goals. It's just ridiculous. Everywhere across Europe, you can see where there's an increase in unvetted male immigration into the country, there's an increase in crime. So, for example, in Sweden, a non-national, now this is according to government reports, not just small-scale kind of small-time studies, a foreign national is 2.5 times more likely to have committed rape or sexual assault in Sweden. In Germany, for example, in Lower Saxony, there was a government-sponsored study which from 2015 to 2016 found that there had been a 10% increase in serious crime, and 92% of that had been carried out by new migrants. Now, in 2022, in Ireland, there was 12 women were murdered, and 5 of those were murdered by non-Irish nationals. So that idea, this plea of Leo Varadkar to, oh, please don't connect immigration and crime, it's ridiculous. Everybody can see, everybody with their eyes open can see it plainly. And
okay. Now, I know some people are going to nitpick this, especially the leftists, and say, well, you know what? 12 women got killed in Ireland, and it was only 5 illegals that did it. And they're going to try to use that to say, but you see, Irish people are committing more crimes against their women, 7% more than the illegals. That is not the point. That is not the case. Okay, the point is they're adding more to the crime. Okay? Had those illegals not be let in, only 7 women would have had their lives taken from them. But since everybody wants, okay, all these illegals to come in and not vet them the right way, or, you know, try to find out exactly who's who and say, well, we don't need 500,000. We'll start with like 5,000 first, and then, you know, we'll see how it goes, and, you know, we'll take it easy into, because, you know, a lot of these criminals, they're going to hide. They'll stay dormant for years. Okay? No, they just want to flood every country with all these illegals, saying that they're leaving, they're seeking asylum, but it's like, well, if you're seeking asylum, and that goes for the illegal immigrants that are going to Europe and America, if you're seeking asylum, again, why don't you call out the ones in your community that are committing the crimes? You're basically bringing the crime with you. If you're leaving your country seeking asylum because you're trying to leave whatever persecution is going on there, whatever crime is going on there, why the hell are you staying quiet in the country that is opening up their doors to you? If you would tell us who these people are, okay, then we can say, you know what, we're going to have a better population because now you're with us, now you're showing us your loyalty. But that's the thing, people. Okay? I don't know the numbers, but if I had to guess, 95% of the people that are coming in to the Western world, they don't want to pledge their allegiance to the Western world. So it's become what? It's become an occupation. The powers that be want to change the demographics. Okay, they know how to handle crime in their countries. But if it's so bad and you're leaving, seeking asylum, why would you let that follow you? Why would you not point the finger? How are you going to come out and say, well, it's because we're scared? Then if you're scared, then why are you here? You're here seeking asylum, so you shouldn't be scared. It's bullshit. Okay? And the powers that be, here in America, in Europe, They're letting these criminals in, and for leftists or anybody for that matter to come out and say otherwise and say, you know what, you're racist, you're this. These criminals don't go around asking your political affiliation. They don't go around asking your religious affiliation. They just go and see victims. They see prey. They're the predator, they see prey. And you would think that people on the left would open up their eyes and say, you know what, that could be me. That could be somebody I know. But even with that, they don't care. They just don't care. Let's listen to a little more and then we'll wrap it up.
And you know what? It's one of the reasons, not only the increase in crime, but it's also the cost to the exchequer, to the taxpayer, and the loss of sovereignty. People feel that people in Ireland feel that there's a second act of colonisation taking place. They haven't been asked, they weren't asked, they never give their consent, and you know what, they feel, what the hell's going on? This used to be Ireland 20 years ago, and now in many towns in the west of Ireland, Irish people are becoming a minority.
Now, of course...
And we'll end it right there. It means a couple of minutes. You guys can go on their channel, gbnnews.com, and check out the rest. I'm just trying to save some time here. But that's basically, in a nutshell, what he's saying that I've been saying and millions, hundreds of millions of people worldwide are saying in the Western world. They're like, you're not coming here looking for a better life. You're coming here to colonize. You're coming in mass. You're not pointing out. You're protesting for what you want. It's putting a strain on us. But then when we need your help to point out the criminals in your communities, you won't do it. You stay quiet, okay? Or you'll point the finger saying, I'm a racist because I'm trying to ask you, listen, we need to figure out who these gang members are, who these rapists are, the criminals. They're like, no, I'm not going to do that. Why? Because they're basically just going places to colonize. Okay, and like I said, you know, there are not that many people in Ireland. And to let in such an influx of people, it doesn't take that long, and I hate to say it this way, okay, but it doesn't take that long to outbreed one race from another, one culture from another, okay? If it was 500,000 people coming into a country that had, I don't know, 1 billion people like China, you can say, man, it'll never happen, and if it did, it'll take another 100 years. But a place as small as Ireland, their population is not big. You let in all these people, they're already colonizing little neighborhoods, little communities, and already changing the demographics. It won't take long. And no, I'm not trying to blow a dog whistle, okay? Because the basis to this video is that all the crime that's coming in. So how is the Western world supposed to get better, okay, when you have people on the left that want to coddle criminals that are born and raised there, and on top of that, coddle criminals that are coming in? The answer to that, in my opinion, they don't. They want the chaos. They want their way, and that's it. And they want it to get so bad that they want to be the ones that everybody goes to for help, and then when they see that now they got everybody under their thumb, slaves, that's when they pass all the draconian laws. The criminals have gotten their way, and then in their eyes, everybody's a criminal, and that's it, they take over. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around, give it a thumbs up, and if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. And if you can, people, please, the links in the description to help out my friend and to help out Loza Alexander. Even if you could do it with prayers, it'd be greatly appreciated. So remember, people, stay vigilant, keep praying for each other, keep praying for the children and this country, and keep praying for Donald Trump, and pray for your enemies. Peace.